It's nearly the end of July, for God's sake. Oh, my word. Hello to everyone in the chat. We've got Johnny Copperhead there. We've got Lucy. We've got Dave. We've got Jacques. We've got Pendo. We've got Phil Spicer. We've got Richard Brophy. We've got Larry the Cat. We've got Craig Harrison. We've got 31 Blaze. And we've got Master Templar. So let's get into it, shall we? First of all, obviously there's been elections in Spain. Sorry, just got a phone call on my phone. Can no one call me while I'm going lectures? Back to the show. So anyway, he called this election. Now, the current governing party in Spain is a centre-left party, and they wanted to see off a threat from the far right. There's a party called Vox, and then there's a Popular Party, PP. Popular Party a bit like the Tories, and then Vox are a bit more right-wing than even that. Why anyone who lives in Spain, grew up in Spain, knows anything about Spain, would vote for proto-fascists is beyond me, but a few million people did. But the Conservatives fell short. They fell short, so they didn't actually get the votes they needed to win, which win outright control, which is good. It means basically no one has anything to celebrate, but it does also mean there will be more elections coming up in a few months' time, possibly. But yeah, hopefully, the more socialist elements of the political system in Spain can stay in power somehow, because we really don't want populists and we don't want fascists running any country. I know I'm not Spanish, and as people might say, it's got nothing to do with you, but it does really. It no man is an island. Anything going on in any other country in the world affects us, just as things going on in Britain affect other countries in the world. But that's not what I want to talk about. Morning to Lee Cruz there, and we've also got Cathal, and to Peter and Dave and Jan Wallace and Peter. Got loads of people in. One Angry Pagan. Not enough time has passed that you forgot. Not enough time has passed that you forgot about Franco. And then we've got Paul Ewan saying, did Vox voters vote tactically? Just wondering if that explains them losing seats. I don't know. I don't know what happened in Spain. I'm not up on Spanish politics too much, I'm afraid. So I'm not going to opine on it too much. I just know that no one's got anything to really celebrate this morning, which is possibly a good thing. Yeah, me and Anne had the same curtains. Yeah, this is well, yeah. Anyway, so I'm back in Liverpool today. I do look like I'm in a photo booth, don't I? Oh, thank you very much, Frank, for the £5 super chat. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Frank. You are a legend. Yeah, I do look like I'm in a photo booth. I'm sort of in the corner of a bedroom upstairs. We went to the Blue Dot, Brown Dot, the Blue Dot Festival this weekend, and it was an absolute mud fest. But the kids seemed to like it, so that was all right. But we left early. I was planning to do a live cast with Terry Christian, which we'd arranged on the Sunday, but then they decided on the Sunday they weren't allowing anyone else to go to the site because it was too waterlogged and muddy and all the cars were stuck. But there you go. I would not call Vox proto-fascists, but actual fascists. You regularly see fascist salutes at their rallies. Yeah, okay, straight out, Vox are fascists. And not keeping the fact that there was a civil war in the 1930s and Franco ruled Spain with an iron fist until... did he die in 1985, did he? Or his party was in power till 1985. Someone check the date on that for me, please. I might be getting mixed up with Salazar in old Portugal. Oh, that was 1975, was it? 1975, says Frank, yeah. 1975. Got in there just before the message came up. 1975 died Frank, I'm saying. What 10 years out there. Sorry, David. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about today a little bit is... there's a report in the Times on the news and the Times newspaper about the Tories dialing back their climate policies. Now, this is like at the best of times, you'll be like, okay, what? But look at all the front covers of the newspapers today, and they are dominated by the fires in Greece. There's been fires around Athens for a couple of weeks now. Now we've got fires in Rhodes and also fires in Corfu. People having to get out of places in Greece that are on fire. They're having days that are over 40 degrees C. Same that they've had in Spain. Obviously, there's been these floods that we've had in South Korea and in Japan and in America. There's just so many things going on right now that are makes it really, really unbelievable that the Tories are dialing back. But extinctionist, and this is the term that I'm going to use more and more. I heard it for the first time over the weekend. I was reading an article in the Guardian about a philosopher who was a pro-extinctionist philosopher, I assume, because he wants everyone to die violently. So I thought, well, actually, that's a really good expression, extinctionist. So everyone who thinks that it's a really good thing that the world is hotting up is an extinctionist. Everyone who thinks that they look at the science and they go, what's the hottest, here you go, pop quiz, what's the hottest planet in the solar system? Is it Jupiter? That's a massive gas giant. No. Is it Mercury, which is closer to the sun? No. It's Venus. Why? Because of a runaway greenhouse effect. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. And what caused one of the big extinctions of all time and of Earth, the Permian extinction? Yeah, runaway climate change caused by volcanoes in that respect. But in our respect, it's caused by humans. And like I said the other week, it's the equivalent of 800 years worth of nuclear bombs going off every second for 800 years. That's the amount of energy that we've put into the air, into the sea, into the ground. Well, not dug beneath the ground because that's where it was. We took out this energy, we burnt the energy, and now the energy is bouncing around the planet, creating a blanket. Gary's saying Betelgeuse or Beetlejuice is going to appear as a supernova in 10 to 100 years. Do you reckon? It's getting a bit unstable. They went a bit mad, but now it's calmed down a little bit, so we don't know if it is going to be. Because when you talk about astrological time, it could be 10 years, it could be 10,000 years. Anyway, so Jacob Rees-Mogg, extinctionist extraordinaire, called yesterday for a delay to the ban on 2030 sales on petrol and diesel cars. He wanted what's being called as an exemption for Aston Martins. Yeah, you heard that right. Exemption for Aston Martins. This is the same party that last week was in a flap about the fact that a millionaire couldn't get a bank account for millionaires because it was for multi-millionaires, and I think he's just a millionaire now. Those poor millionaires. When someone think of the millionaires, and also the same party that were like, oh, let's get rid of inheritance tax, which is only paid by the top 1% of the country. It's only paid after if you're handing your house or whatever down to your kids, it's only after the first £500,000 that you get for free. By virtue of being born to someone who has lots of money, who usually has that money because they had amazing pensions, full salary pensions. They bought the house for £2.50 in 1961, and then when they cark it, the house is worth £750,000 somehow because economics. Anyway, so there you go. Sunak himself is saying that he's going to stick with the 2030, but apparently he's not too interested in it. Someone who works closely with the Prime Minister, he's not opposed to it, he's just not really that interested in green issues because, you know, even though Greece is on fire, and we had wildfires in the UK for the first time in our history, I think, last year near a city, people's houses burnt down. We had 2 days of 40-degree heat. It's pretty bad. The PM thinks you've got to take the public with us on this. You can't impose it on people. We did impose many things on people that have helped people a lot, like the ban of it on asbestos in 1999, the ban on lead in car engines in petrol in the 90s, the ban on cigarettes being spoken in public places in the noughties. That we ban things. We ban things that are bad for people. So this Aston Martin exemption is to the 2030 deadline, which will give small car makers longer to convert to electric engines. Yeah, okay, look, I don't, I'm just between you and me, right? Just between me and the 182 people watching this. Can we get some more likes, please? I don't care about Aston Martin owners. I really don't. I mean, okay, whatever. Is that important? I don't know. You tell me in the chat. I think that our car industry that's being decimated by Brexit is more important because that's a higher volume of cars and obviously more sales. You know, just sell 5 a year. When someone think of the cottage industries. Michael Gove, the Housing Secretary, signalled yesterday that landlords would have to adapt to rules requiring rental properties to have at least a C of energy efficiency rating, which is fair enough. There's a lot of slumlords out there. Thank you very much for the super chat there, One Angry Pagan, £2. Russia and China making that more moves in the Arctic. Oh no, yeah, that Arctic oil ain't going to drill itself out, is it? At 2025 deadline for new tenancies in the 2028 cut-off for existing leases will be delayed, it is understood. So this is the idea that they were going to force landlords in this country. This country has the draftiest and the least energy efficient housing stock in Europe. You've got to understand that. Like, that's off the charts. It's worse than countries in East Europe that were part of the Soviet bloc or part of the behind the Iron Curtain. For many years, we have literally worse housing stock when it comes to keeping heat in and energy conservation. Yeah, they're going to delay that for another few years. But this is the one that really got me. No new low traffic neighborhoods are likely to be approved. This is a council matter, right? You're thinking, hang on, isn't it the councils who decide on low traffic neighborhoods? So for many, many years, something I often go on about, we built our house, we built our communes, our villages, our towns, our cities around the needs of a car. Not people, cars. So everything had to be keeping the cars happy. Are the cars happy? Are you happy? Are the cars happy? If the cars aren't happy, you're not happy. And that's why the city centres of Manchester, the Mancunian Way, or Birmingham or Newcastle were just vandalised horrifically. You know, the West Way in London, the Hammersmith flyover, just absolutely destroyed the local community by bulldozing down houses and building these horrific concrete nightmare 4-lane bloody motorways in the middle of human habitation. And we have this problem in Liverpool where we've got a stupid road called Wapping, not called Wapping Road, just Wapping, and that's the one that runs outside the Three Graces and also the famous Albert Dock. It's a 3-lane motorway each way, and we literally have thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands when at big events on like Eurovision trying to cross this road. And when I say 3 lanes, it's 3 lanes each way, so it's 6-lane motorway that you've got to cross. And people have said, hang on, why don't we just take it down to 1 lane each way? And then people go, no, you can't do that. Think about the cars. I'm like, no, actually, that makes perfect sense, along with demolishing the Mancunian Way. And I'll tell you why. Putting more lanes onto roads doesn't work. We know this. This is proven time and time again. In America, they've got like 17-lane highways, freeways, I should say, which still clog up. In California, in Texas. But the way that they've sort of done this in Liverpool and in Manchester is that, say you are in North Liverpool or North Manchester for that matter, the quickest way to the south should be around the ring road, right? Shouldn't that be the quickest way? But it's not. When you put it into your sat nav, it'll tell you to go into the city centre and then come out of the city centre. So think about this in terms of pressure. You've got all these cars from around the city coming into the small space of the city centre and then out again, instead of round the ring road, whether it's Queen's Drive, whether it's the M25, whether it's the M57 in Liverpool, or the Knowsley Expressway. I mean, there's ways of getting around a city pretty quickly if you take the ring road. But your sat-nav will take you through the city centre if you're in Manchester. You still live in Manchester. The quickest way to get out of Fallowfield to Liverpool was up and then across the Mancunian Way, this horrific raised motorway in the middle of the city centre. So I've always had this particular bugbear. I think that they should make it, Liverpool, that waterfront, beautiful waterfront, get rid of the cars. I'm happy to do that. I'm very, very happy to do that. More than happy to do that. And I know that will divert cars to other places. But if you're coming down from the north or from the south of Liverpool, you've actually got pretty good transport links, surprisingly, on the trains. Whereas if you're from East Liverpool, like where I grew up and where I am now, you don't stand a chance. The nearest railway station to me right now is Broad Green Station, I think, and that's about a 25-minute walk. Great. Anyway, so moving swiftly on. So anyway, this low traffic neighborhoods, I think they're a great idea. I support them 100%. I like the idea of having all your amenities close to you. I don't like those Barrett Estate setups where you have all these little cul-de-sacs of houses that you have to have a car in order to just get some groceries. You need a pint of milk. Oh my God, I've got to get in the car to get a pint of milk, which is ridiculous. And obviously this must come with better public transport. Really, really can't stress that enough. But what the government are doing, and get this, sorry for taking so long to get to this point, is, oh my God, so if a council decides that it wants to have a low traffic neighbourhood in its city centre because people are getting mown down by cars, children are having to breathe in this toxic smoke that's giving them asthma and destroying the planet, if the councils want to do this, right, if they want to put in a low traffic neighbourhood, the government are not going to allow them access, this is what they're planning, they're not going to allow them access to the car registration database, the national database. So they won't be able to record what cars are coming in and out automatically using cameras. This is the same Tory party that made the expansion of ULEZ a condition of getting the COVID recovery money to Transport for London during COVID. Grant Shapps did that, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're worried about ULEZ, it's a Tory idea that was invented by Boris Johnson, that was brought in under Boris Johnson. It was his idea. And then the expansion of it was forced on TfL, forced on the Mayor of London by the Tories, because he said, you have to expand it or you're not getting the money, knowing that ULEZ would be incredibly unpopular in the outer London area, even though they have got very good transport links there. Although it is a bit difficult to get from one place to another, I guess, without going down and in and out again, and underground, overground, wombling free. You know, whatever. Anyway, we've got one angry pagan saying, Andrew Pentov, good for astrophysics and cosmology too. All good. Yeah, but it's about better guys. There's a sequel to Beetlejuice actually coming out very soon, which is going to have Michael Keating in, and I think that Jenna Ortega is going to be in it as well, reprising her role from Wednesday, which she's very good at. She's kind of our new little Winona Ryder stroke Christina Ricci. You can walk from Fallowfield to the city zone. Yeah, indeed. You're not been watching Strong Town and Not Just Bikes again. I maybe. I don't know. I watch Adam Something. I quite like Adam Something talking about public transport. But it just makes a lot of sense to build where humans live around the needs of humans rather than the needs of cars. But the fact that they're saying that access to the DVLA database to find drivers who enter car-free zones won't necessarily be available for future schemes, a government spokesperson said. Grant Shapps, the guy who forced ULEZ on the people of London, on the people of Greater London, the people on the other side of the North and South Circular, Grant Shapps said, he's the Energy Secretary, he said that Britain could, and this is a quote, max out, the words he used, North Sea oil and gas reserves and still hit net zero carbon emissions on time. Now, I think they're living in cloud cuckoo land. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. I've been wondering that as well, says Dave W. Ministers see Labour's pledge to end North Sea drilling as a chance to divide on energy security, something that we could have if the Tories would allow onshore wind farms, which they don't. They've had a ban. The Tories had a ban, which was brought in under Cameron, which has been in place now for nearly a decade, where we couldn't build any new wind farms on land in this country because we don't want energy security because, whatever. Lee Rowley, a local government minister, said that ministers have to be careful. We all want to tread more lightly on the earth, but we've got to do it in a way that works for the Tories because there's money to be made, people. They're fiddling the books while Rhodes burns, which was the cover of one of the newspapers today. So that's basically what we're up against. We're up against extinctionists. I'm going to do a long form video on this because I really want to talk about the psychology of extinctionists, because if you think about it, it's people like Julia Hartless-Brewer and Loser Fox. And Lawrence Fox spent Father's Day, he has got children, and he spent Father's Day burning pride flags. That tells you everything that you need to know about that. Whereas G is trying to get me to use accelerationist, but that could mean that you drive a car fast. I mean, extinctionist, it says what it is on the box. It's like they are driving us and everything on the planet to extinction, because it's not about the planet. The planet will survive, as people love to point out. The planet will survive us. It will outlast us. It will outlive us, but sorry, we might not be around to see the end of this century the way we're going if we don't dial back the huge amounts of energy that we are pouring into the atmosphere. The highest amount of parts per million of CO2 for way over, what was it, 500,000 years? It might be actually over 1 million years, which is crazy. Wes is saying it's the correct word. I'm still not going to use it, Wes, because it's fine, but I have to explain it. It's a bit like Labour policy when they go, it's all right, I'll explain it. Just settle down. So we had this election in the middle of winter. Let me tell you about it. It was fun. So the opposition didn't have to have this election because they had a fixed term Parliament Act, which meant that the government couldn't just declare an election when it felt like. And instead of using that to our advantage and putting together a national government or postponing the elections until the summer or when the winds were in our favour on the left. No, we went for an election in the middle of winter, and the Tories said, get Brexit done. And Labour said, here, read this 100-page manifesto. 100-page manifesto, get Brexit done. And people voted for the easy thing because people have lives to live and they can't be bothered learning all the stuff that they need to learn in order to cast their vote intelligently. Some people don't. Some people just don't care. Some people don't vote. Some people do vote, but they don't really think about it. They just feel like they're urged to vote out of some misplaced loyalty to some dead people in the past. And possibly. I don't know. Sorry, I meant like the World War One Poppy Brigade. Like, I need. World War One wasn't about democracy. It really wasn't. It was about the grandchildren of Queen Victoria having a fight. Most people don't read the manifestos. Yes, the big one. Well, exactly. So if you've got a free word slogan, and that's why I'm having this debate at the moment with Phil, and we'll do an episode of the agenda. We'll try and do it on Friday where we talk about this a little bit. But the "Make Brexit Work" slogan that honestly makes my teeth, it makes me breathe sharply through my teeth. Make Brexit work. How can you make Brexit work? It's ridiculous. But then Phil's point is like, well, it doesn't mean anything, does it? It just can mean anything. It's like, how do we make it work? By rejoining the EU. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's how most people are going to see it. It's like, well, it's working. It's working. Build back better. Yeah, that's the American one, isn't it? But I think we adopted it because Biden, it worked for Biden. Sat navs are thick, says Band of Harpers. Thank you. Irene says they can't be. I hear they've been deporting British people. Can't blame them. Oh, this was in Spain. Yeah, people who outstayed their 90 days and 180 that were allowed in our continent these days because of Brexit. But Boris Johnson's all right. He's a millionaire. Nigel Farage, he's all right. He's a millionaire. Richard Tice, Aaron Banks, all the Brexit misfits, all the Michael Gove, Rishi Sunak, they're all millionaires. They can live anywhere they like on the planet because they've got the money to. They can buy a golden visa if they want. They've got the money to do it. Let's go with Eat the Rich. That's from Eurowash. I like it, but I probably wouldn't get away with it. The problem is that everyone thinks they're rich. That's why there's a huge problem with people using the term rich to say let's tax the rich, because they go, but I'm rich, I don't want to be taxed. They're not actually rich. And the people who are rich don't think they're rich, which is really weird. You see this? There was a guy on Question Time who was like, I don't see why they're taxing me. I'm not in the top 1%. So how much do you earn? He said £80,000 a year. And he went, you are literally in the top 10%. What the average wage in the UK is 27,000. Like, come on, serious. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no one thinks of themselves as being incredibly wealthy, but at the same time, they don't see themselves. Everyone sees themselves as they'll make excuses. They'll say things like, "Well, we're property rich, but cash poor." Okay, and then you've got the other one, which is that people don't like to be called poor. No one wants to be called poor. It's like a raid against your handling of your life, and that's why I wish that Labour, in particular, would stop using the word poor. They've picked up on this, actually. To be fair to fair to Keir Starmer and his troops, he does try and use the word hard-working British families, which is always a euphemism that the Tories like to use, which is good because everyone sees themselves as hard-working. No one likes to think of themselves as lazy, and you're not going to win an election by going, we're going to help out the lazy people. The lazy people. Those lazy people that we all know that got loads of money, even though they're dead lazy. Like, I don't know, people have been retired for 30 years. Anyway, just get money because they got a final salary pension. The dinosaurs didn't bounce back. That's Gary Arnold. That's very, very true. But then they got hit by a meteorite. Nigel cannot get a golden visa. He probably could to, is it Malta? Malta do golden visas if he wanted one. I'd probably get one from Estonia if he wanted one. But he couldn't get one for Germany, which was funny. But he tried. He tried in the middle of the whole Brexit wars. He tried to become a citizen of Germany so he could keep his EU passport while simultaneously taking it away from the rest of us. Spread the wealth. That's great from John. Absolutely. Yeah, destroy Brexit. Birds are dinosaurs. Thinking, oh yes, paleontologist has entered the chat. When I keep thinking, well, actually, there's avian dinosaurs that are still with us. There you go. Chicken descended from a T-Rex. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. Tories are the lazy people. No one lazier than Sunak and Hunt. Can we not work towards Tory extinction? That would be good. But yeah, I do like this term extinctionist. I know Wes doesn't, but I like it. I think it really sums it up, because if you are in a debate with someone who's saying, oh, climate change, what's everyone complaining about? You know, there's been fluctuations of the temperature of the earth before. Yes, there has, at the end of the Permian, which resulted in 90% of the species on the planet dying. Yeah, biggest death ever, actually, even bigger than the KT event, the event that killed the dinosaurs millions of years later. But yeah, we're doing that. We're doing that to our planet. One of the reasons why Venus is so bloody hot is because of the runaway greenhouse effect, which is that, the heat cannot escape. So the heat from the sun comes into Venus, hits the ground, bounces back up, and it doesn't go into space. It just stays in Venus. It just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And they have sulfuric acid for rain. Great. And that's why we never dropped a probe on Venus. You try and drop a probe on Venus, it sort of dissolves in the clouds as it goes down. You don't really know what's going on Venus, except that it's very hot, and that's been caused by greenhouse gases building up naturally on that planet, but unnaturally on our planet, because we have dug out energy out the ground and then started pumping it into the atmosphere. Lee says he applied for German citizenship using his kid's address in Germany and saying it's that's where I lived. The guy at the passport office says, I don't think so, probably laughing his head off. Brilliant. Pressure, increased temperature. That's very true. That's from Vendetta. And I've got that allows me to make an interesting fact. Not a factoid, because a factoid technically isn't true. A little factor. You can't have a cup of tea. Oh my God, I forgot my tea. Hang on. Oh, I'm kind of cold now. Oh my God. There's nothing worse than a cold cup of tea. See that tea? It's cold. Catherine made me that. Didn't have me morning brew with morning brew. Sorry. Silly boy. It's because I'm in an unnatural environment. Not natural. I'm in a house. Okay, yeah, there's pretty unnatural, but no. Anyway, you can't have a cup of tea on the top of Everest because the pressure on the top of the mountain is a lot lower, and it means that the your tea will boil at about 65 degrees Celsius. It won't get any hotter than 65 degrees, and therefore that's not hot enough to make a decent cup of tea. True story. So, top tip if you're climbing up Everest this weekend, thermos flask, put some tea in it, nice and hot, screw up the top, and pogo stick up the mountain, or whatever you want to do. Anyway, except if it's iced tea. I don't like iced tea. It's bad. I bet Venus has less turds in its river, says Cheers, I love that. For all we know, it was unnaturally on Venus and the ruins of a civilization hiding up with those sulfuric clouds. Blaze, I think that would make a good little science fiction short story, I think. Yes, do it. Make it so. So El Frogo, no banco. Got told computer says no. Well, yeah, I mean, it is just something else, isn't it, when you've got a multi-millionaire whinging about not being able to get a bank account for millionaires. And there were 2 questions asked about it last week at the last PMQs. One by Jacob Rees-Mogg, who is... so wealthy, it's painful. His father wrote a book on disaster capitalism. He famously moved his Somerset Capital company, I think it's a hedge funds company or something, and he moved it to Dublin during the Brexit wars because he knew that the economy of Britain was going to go down the pan. Because that's what they set it up to do. Nice. This is why we invented microwaves. Cold tea is horrible, says Vendetta. You are absolutely right. Mobiles emit microwaves, says Gary Arnold. Yes, they do, but everything emits everything, doesn't it? Doesn't everything emit a bit of stuff all the time? But if mobile phones were cancerous, then I think the human race would have been wiped out by now. Sulfuric acid rain with supercritical CO2 fluid at 93 atmos pressure at 500 Celsius, the magic and mystery of the runaway greenhouse effect. Yeah, we talk about tipping points where we can't go back. We get to a point where there's this much ice left in the Antarctic and the Arctic and Greenland. Don't forget, if the Arctic ice cap melts, then that's bad. That's bad, but it is like an ice cube floating on the water. Whereas Greenland and Antarctica are continents. They are ground. They have snow, ice on them, and if that all melts away, that's going to raise the sea level by meters, not by a little bit. But the big problem we've got at the moment is that in the Atlantic Ocean, something I'm particularly worried about because I have property in Panama, which is very low lying. When you heat water, it expands. Not by much, but on the scale of an ocean, the size of the Atlantic Ocean, obviously the hotter the ocean, the more it expands, and then you get the possibility of more flooding, especially if that's in combination with a high tide, king tide. And I'm particularly worried about Ginger Island in Panama, basically flooding, the water coming in, as it sometimes does. It used to be once every year or 2 years, now it's once a month. The water coming in, flooding the island, and then just not going out, which is something that could happen. It's heat radiation. Yes. Well, that's what I mean. But one of the things that we're seeing at the moment, and this might be of interest to people, maybe older people or people who are going on holiday in the next couple of weeks, there's apparently skin cancer rates are going through the roof. There was a news story today about Jeremy Hunt having skin cancer and them getting it quick. This apparently come about because lots of holidaymakers in the 70s and 80s like literally cook themselves rotten in the beaches of southern France and Spain. And as a result of that, they now are developing, is it melanomas, which come from radiation. Radiation basically poisoning, because that's what radiation does. It blasts into your body. You have particles that go into you and they mutate your DNA, and not in good ways. The problem with cancer is that it is your DNA. It is, it's part of you. Your body has created it, and therefore your body doesn't destroy it in the same way that it destroys a foreign entity coming into it, like a virus or something like that. That doesn't get destroyed. Unfortunately, the Hulk was a warning. Yeah, I don't think if you bombard yourself with gamma radiation to turn into the Incredible Hulk, you're more likely to just die. Duke says, my dad is moaning because he can't get statins. Wonder why he can't get statins. I wonder why my Brexit voting father can't get statins. Well, there have been almost 40 probes that have entered Venus atmosphere. 8 have touched down on the surface. I didn't know they managed to get to the surface. I'm going to have to update my database on this, on such matters. But yeah, I believe they don't last very long. Am I getting this mixed up? I just thought they kind of melt quite quickly because it's such a hellish environment, old Venus, the goddess of love. But actually, the planet itself is a little bit. One Angry Pagan says, the thing that scares me is another Deccan stroke Siberian traps event that happens again. The meteorite strike was just the icing on the cake for the dinosaurs. I assume you're talking about the energy that's hidden under the ground in Siberia, which is a lot. Russians landed a couple of landers, but didn't last long. There you go. I want to hear Angela Rayner on Labour Social. Well, drop in some super chats. We get some more money. We can go out in some of our cars and drive and pollute the atmosphere. We should get an electric car. Don't think I'm going to get an electric car today. But yeah, maybe. And go out and meet people from Labour in real life, IRL. Phil is a physicist, asked him about Venus. I will. He's doing the show tomorrow, which I'm going to come on to in a moment. You missed my previous point. The pressure, Venus has massive atmospheric pressure, so probes get crushed first. Oh, okay. So they don't dissolve in the clouds, they get crushed. Hell on Venus. Check your moles if you have any on your scalp, shoulders, and neck. Often exposed but not checked. Trust me, skin graft is painful. Check your moles. Wear a hat. Wear a hat. We always wear a hat. We could, on behalf of Liberator Brexit Britain, on a space pod, send all Tufton Street economists to an exploratory fact-finding new trade opportunities. The opportunities outside of the EU, mission to Venus. That would be great. Yeah. We've got AB saying hot water holds less oxygen and fish are asphyxiating. That's very true. You need another presenter stations in London. Graham says, "Job." Oh, don't rub it in. Yes, us Northerners, grim up Northerners. Yeah. So anyway, the Tories are dialing back on their pledges to make Britain greener. They are actively pushing oil companies to drill for more oil. They are trying to stop the ULEZ scheme that they wanted from going ahead. Meanwhile, banning councils effectively from generating green zones where cars can't go and pollute. Great. Okay. In Durham, by the way, just before I go, I just want to say there's like one road in Durham. It's a very small city. It is a city because it's got a cathedral. It's a very small city. And if you go up the road to the cathedral, it's a really small, windy, medieval street going up to the cathedral. And the pavements are about this big. They're about this big. I'm not even kidding. They're a couple of inches. And cars and vans and buses go up and down that road with gay abandon. They're supposed to pay like £2 or something to do it, and it doesn't stop anyone. I want that pedestrianised, and you can only go up there or down there before, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then after that, no, sorry, we have one bus that goes up every half an hour for disabled people, and that's it. Sorry. Oh, you want a pizza delivered, do you? You want a pizza delivered where you can walk down the hill and get your pizza and go back up the hill. Thank you. I've just seen a video on Feed Pop about Vit D and diabetes. Do I need to get out more? Possibly, yes. They can't send anything to land on the forward-facing side of Mercury. It's 430 degrees C, so the container may survive, but the electronics would fry. Wow, that's hot, hot, hot. I would love to see the day where I hear, "My name's Phil, I like talking about physics." That would be good, actually. Phil should maybe do a physics show. Although, you know, Marcus, who does all shorts, he does carpentry stuff, but his politics stuff gets loads more viewers than his carpentry stuff. So he's sort of torn between the two. But Marcus is just an incredible carpenter. He can whittle anything out of anything and put it together. It's phenomenal seeing him work. Anyway, so if you're not subscribed to All Shorts on YouTube, then I would suggest that you do that, because it would be kind of cool. Right, so thank you very much for all the likes. Got 100 likes. I'm going to head off now. Thanks for the super chats, and I'm going to be back on Wednesday, but before then, you're going to have the pleasure of having Phil Morehouse at 9:30 tomorrow for another morning brew. Just a joke, paying All Shorts is the top geezer, says Lively the Cat. He certainly is. Marcus should make something while talking about politics. Yeah, that'd be good, because you get those TikTok videos, don't you, where someone's playing a video game, but they're talking about something else. You see a video game being played, well, it's a clip of something else. So you could be making a table while you're finishing a beautiful stained oak table while they're talking about what a rotter Rishi Sunak and his mates are. Loads of messages coming in, even though I've got to wrap it up very, very soon. Someone should pay to erect huge advertising hoardings in Uxbridge with with pictures of the kids who died because of the pollution. Yeah, I've seen a picture of a child with the air, in the tubes going up the nose because of the pollution. It will be quite an effective image, I think. Although, life's difficult enough. I don't really want to depress people more than the stuff that already depresses people, like the Tories being in charge for the last 13 years and modern architecture. But we've got to get people fired up. We've got to get people going, "Oh my God, what are we doing? Why are we destroying our own habitat? Why are we SHITing where we eat?" Which is bad. Exactly, Graham. Yeah. One Angry Pagan's going to head over to listen to James O'Brien for the listen along. I can't actually, because I'm in Liverpool. I'm about to drive back to Durham. So sorry about that, One Angry Pagan. But if you want to go over there to the Discord server, One Angry Pagans, if you want, you can run the show. He's off again this week. I think it's maybe Lewis Goodall again, but I don't know. But if you want to go and listen to that and have a chat while you're doing it, yeah, Tim, I know he's not on today. He's having 2 weeks off. But yes, you are very welcome to. And if you aren't a member of our Discord community, which we are going to use more and more as Labour Social grows, we want to get sort of games nights on there. like we used to have on my old server, on my old Discord server. And also, we're going to have some meetups in the future. So maybe after the summer holidays, maybe in September, we're going to have our first Labour Social, which will be held in September. So look out for that, and you'll be invited, and especially the people who are already patrons, patreon.com/Labour Social, or YouTube members, which is basically the same thing, really. But there you go. It's David Lammy this one. Oh, good. I like David Lammy. Okay, well, maybe I'll listen to him when I'm in the car driving along. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on Wednesday. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.